I've abandoned two books. One book was fully written, it was 400 pages, and I read it over and I kept falling asleep when I was rereading it. I thought, this is such a bad sign. If I'm falling asleep reading it, no one's going to read it. But there were about 8 pages in that 400-page manuscript that I was particularly drawn to and kept reading over and over again. And I started a new novel, the one that eventually became And Now You Can Go, using those 8 pages. And once I had those 8 pages in place, I wrote the book relatively quickly because I knew I had my voice and I had a character and I knew the situation. I recently abandoned another novel that I was working on. I didn't fully abandon it, but I was about 150 pages into it, and I've been working on it for about a year and a half. And I showed it to some people in my writing group, and I showed it to some friends of mine who are writers. And when I told them that I was considering giving it up and starting afresh, nobody stopped me. And so I knew that that was a good sign that I should probably not continue working on that book. But it is really hard. I'm not saying I'm giving up the entire story of the book. I think I've figured out a lot of things through that draft. So now I'm part of a writing group in San Francisco with about 7 other published writers. They're all novelists. And we show each other our work pretty religiously. We meet about once a month. And that's been really helpful for me, both A, to have deadlines, and B, to have a response pretty early on. So I try to make myself show them work at the more formative stages that ordinarily I would shy away from showing people work at that stage, but now I make myself do it. And in terms of finishing a book, when I've finished a complete draft, then I'll show it to my editor or to other people. And then I think you're ready. When you finish a draft, you're ready to get other people's input. But before that, it's just too soon. Every time I'm near the end of a book, I tell myself, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. All my friends and my husband indulge me and say, okay, you don't ever have to do this again. And that's actually when you know you're done with a book, when you're just pushing yourself so hard and it's drained you so completely. Think, this is it. This is the last book I'm ever writing. And everyone says, okay. And then you're done. You think, okay, I'm going to do it again. I teach creative writing to young students between the ages of 8 and 18 at a nonprofit in San Francisco called 826 Valencia. And there I actually encourage my students to call themselves writers at whatever age. And I think for them it's really both empowering but also true. And if they think of themselves as writers, they take it a lot more seriously. And I think there is something important about being 15 and being able to say, I am a writer. I put words down, I'm a writer.